Hi guys, my name is Johnna Ballard, and I want to take a couple of minutes to talk to you today about family. Before I dive into that though, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am engaged to the most handsomest bass player ever. You know, the goofy guy that dances on stage during Sunday service. I also work in a dentist office. I know nobody likes going to the dentist, but I work in the insurance part of it, and I kind of love my job. I haven't been going to Wesley for very long, but I am eager to work with you guys and to help out in any way that I can. So back to what we're here for today, family. I want to talk to you about how loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. So before we dive into that, what is your family like? Do you guys have a lot of inside jokes? Do you guys use nicknames? Do you have siblings? Or are you an only child? Family is the one thing that we all have in common. Of course, our families can look really different from each other. For some of us, family means one parent and a few siblings, or it means two parents and no siblings. It may mean a mother, a stepmother, a father, a stepfather, and 4 half-brothers and sisters. It may mean a mother. It may mean 3 dogs, your dad, his girlfriend, who lives with you, and her daughter. Maybe your family is the one that adopted you, or the aunt or uncle you live with now. Or maybe it's the foster family you live with, or the friends around you who feel more like your family. When we talk about family, it can look so different for each of us. Families can be your biological family you live with, or the biological parents you've never met. Your extended family members, people who aren't related to you but have become part of your family, the foster family you live with, or the family who adopted you. Or it could even be your chosen family, like a group of friends or a trusted adult in your life. No matter what yours currently looks like or has looked like in the past, we all come from or are part of a family of some kind. A family that, like it or not, is ours. So since we're talking about families, let me introduce you to mine. So here's a picture of my family. That's me, my 2 sisters, and my mom. My dad, unfortunately, isn't in this picture because he passed away earlier this year. This picture, though, means a lot to me because this past summer, me and my family went to Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley. And that was a very interesting trip. It was the first vacation that we had taken as a family in about 9 years. And it was a road trip vacation. So the car was full of very loud off-key singing the entire drive to Memphis, Tennessee. Singers we are not. But I did have a pretty good time hanging out with my mom and my sisters and talking and singing along to the radio. So that's the thing about my family. They make me crazy. They embarrass me. They're always cheering the loudest in the stands. They get on my nerves, and they're some of the strangest people I know. But still, I love them. And honestly, I love being around them. They are some of the most encouraging, loving, and supportive people in my life, no matter how much they can't sing on key. Now, here's the thing. I know not everyone likes being around their family, and that's because family can be stressful, unpredictable, and even exhausting at times. Fighting, health issues, divorce, lying, rules we don't understand, and yelling. All these things and more can make a family a lot more, complicated. Now, add faith to that equation. Believe it or not, faith, what each of you believes or doesn't believe, can make things even more complicated with your family. Whether you've been a Christian for a long time or this Jesus thing is really new to you, here's what I want you to know. faith can create tension in your family. Maybe you know this is true because your faith is really important to you. What you believe influences the way you live, and the way you live impacts your family. And that's complicated because you have a parent or step parent or sibling who doesn't see faith the same way you do. Simply put, they aren't Christians, and you are. Or maybe they are Christians, but they give you a hard time for taking it too seriously. And honestly, you're not sure if you're supposed to talk about any of this faith stuff with them at all. They believe something totally different than you do, and that feels strange. It's like you're on two totally different pages. Or maybe for you, faith impacts your family in a different way. Maybe in your home, it's your mom or foster parent or grandparent who is really into this Jesus stuff. They love reading the Bible and going to church, and they think you should love it too. But if you're honest, you aren't all that interested. In fact, maybe you're here because someone in your family made you come. Maybe they forced you to come because they want you to believe what they believe. Or maybe they send you to church as a punishment for something you did that they think a little faith could fix. For you, faith is certainly making things in your family a lot more complicated. Or maybe you weren't really sure about how your family and faith mix. Maybe you've always just said you believe because your parents told you to. But as you get older, you're not so sure what you really think. But still, you're told to honor your parents, and as middle schoolers, you don't always get a lot of choice in that matter, do you? So you keep going through the motions, but inside you're struggling, and because you can't talk to your family about it, it's making things at home feel a little different. See what I mean? In one way or another, faith can create tension in families. Which is confusing, because we're also told that faith is somehow supposed to make things better in our family. But that doesn't always feel like it's true, does it? So the question is, if faith can create tension in our families, how do we make sure our faith is actually helping to make our families better? The good news is, I have an answer to that question. Well, it's not my answer, actually. It's something Jesus himself actually said. And a guy named John, one of Jesus's closest friends and followers, wrote it down so that we could learn from it today. Before I tell you exactly what Jesus said, let me explain a little bit about what was happening when he said it. Just before Jesus was going to be arrested and eventually killed on the cross, he called his close friends and followers together for a meal. Even though Jesus had warned them that he was going to die, they didn't really understand. It didn't click with them that this was going to be the last meal they shared together as a family. To them, they were just doing what they always did as a family, sitting around a table, sharing a meal, and talking about life. But because Jesus knew the way things were about to go, he wanted to share a few important words with his closest people. So at that dinner, he dropped this important truth to his family. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. John 13, verse 35. The word disciples simply means that you follow Jesus. Jesus was saying that people will know we follow him and believe in him by the way we love each other. Jesus knew difficult times were coming, that his friends would be scared, persecuted, and even tempted to turn their back on him. Yet when it all came down to it, Jesus took this one last opportunity to remind them that loving each other was the most important thing they could do. Loving each other was the way they could show the world that they believed in him. Loving each other was the way their faith could make an impact. And you know what? I think the same can be true in our families. If we want faith to do more than create tension in our family, if we wanted to actually impact our families for the better, then it's not about winning them to our side. It's not about convincing each other to believe the same thing or arguing about what's true or right. It's just about love. Because loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. Of course, this isn't always easy. Loving your family the way Jesus asks us to can be really difficult. In fact, some days it may be the hardest thing you're called to do. But I think Jesus knew that. I think that's why he didn't leave us to figure out how to do this on our own. A few years later, God led a guy named Paul to write a bunch of letters to churches to instruct and encourage them in their faith. They were living after Jesus' death and resurrection, and honestly, most of them were a lot like us. They were people just trying to figure out how this whole faith thing impacts the different parts of our lives. In one of his letters, Paul laid out for them and us exactly what it looks like to love others. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 7. When Jesus calls us to love one another, this is what he's asking us to do. To be patient, kind, humble, respectful, and selfless. To not get upset easily or hold grudges. To protect and trust. And hope and stick it out with the people around us. To love our family the way Jesus calls us to love them. You see, loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. Love is where it starts. No matter what you believe or what your family believes when it comes to faith, this is something we can all do. We can all try to love the people in our family just a little more. If you're doing it because you believe in Jesus, that's great. But if you're not sure that you believe in Jesus, trying to love your family can still make things better. So this week, here's what I want you to think about. What does it look like to love your family? It can mean being patient and kind to the adults in your home, to not be arrogant when you talk about your beliefs with your family members who believe something different, to not be jealous of what your siblings have, not to be rude to your mom, not to be hot-tempered or quick to react to your dad. Whatever it is, give that a try this week. And to help you not get overwhelmed, start by picking just one. Pick just one of the many ways you can show love that Paul listed in his letter. Start there. Focus on that one, and you will see that love is how our faith makes our family better. Because honestly, love is what changes people. Love is what faith is all about, and even if it doesn't change them, it can change you. Remember, loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to teach this lesson. Family is very important. So is faith. And just seeing the impact that it can make, it's pretty amazing. I would like to close this out in prayer. So if you would please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to come together this week to serve you. Thank you for allowing us to see what kind of impact our love can make with our family and our faith. Thank you for showing us your word and for showing us how we can be better and show love to everybody, not just our family. All this greatness that you give us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.